Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to the video, and today we're here for another severe weather breakdown. Now we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, including severe storms, a massive storm that's going to move through portions of the central plains and the Midwest, and even a little bit of tropical activity. So let's go and break it all down today, starting off with the SPC outlook. Tornado threat for today, we do not have a tornado threat, luckily. We might get one later tonight, but I highly doubt it. Damaging wind threat, we do have two 5% risks of damaging winds of 60 miles an hour or higher here. One is up here in the border of the northwest and the southwest, and then one is here in portions of northeastern Texas and southeastern Oklahoma. So look out in both those regions. You have a chance to see some damaging winds tonight. Hail threat, we do have a small 5% risk of hail of 1 inch or larger here in northeastern Texas and southeastern Oklahoma. So do look out for that. Now moving on to tomorrow here, we already have a slight risk of severe weather, so we really need to be watching this. Tornado threat for tomorrow, we do have a 2% risk of a tornado here in portions of Nebraska and South Dakota, and I really think that we have a chance to see our first tornado in a while in this region here. We have not seen one in about at least a week, I would say. So definitely look out in this region here, especially near Valentine, Nebraska. So moving on to the damaging wind threat for tomorrow, we have a 15% risk of wind gusts of 60 miles an hour higher here, down here in southeastern Oklahoma and northeast Texas. And then we have a massive 5% risk here that extends all the way down from Texas and New Mexico back up through portions of the Great Plains here, eventually stopping near Pierre, South Dakota. So do look out for the damaging winds as well. And then the hail threat for tomorrow is also pretty concerning. We also have a 15% risk of hail of 1 inch or larger here in the same region, and then a 5% risk of hail of 1 inch or larger in the same region as well. So definitely be on the lookout for this, guys. This is going to be some large hail and damaging winds possible tomorrow. Moving on to the Friday outlook, we already have a slight risk of severe weather. The main threat with this is going to be damaging winds and potentially even a few tornadoes here, and this is going to be the start of a huge storm. As we can see, moving all the way into Saturday, we already have a slight risk of severe weather, which isn't super common for them to issue on a Saturday, or 4 days out rather, not just on a Saturday, but 4 days out from the day that you're looking at. So this is Saturday's outlook. We already have a slight risk of severe weather here in the central U.S., kind of the eastern plains and the western Midwest here. And I would be watching for this to potentially get upgraded to an enhanced risk. So definitely look out for this here. So like Lincoln, Omaha, Des Moines, Kansas City, Tulsa, Wichita, Jefferson City, this entire area on Saturday, you already have a decent chance to see severe weather. So moving on to the National Hurricane Center here, like I said, we have quite a bit of tropical activity we need to talk about. We have this disturbance that has a 40% chance to form the next 7 days and a 10% chance to form the next 48 hours. And even though it's not likely to form soon, if it does, that's going to be a huge problem, since this is right here going to impact the Carolinas, portions of Georgia as well, most likely. So we need to be watching out for this because it has had a higher chance to form. It's now gotten upgraded to a 40% risk. So we really need to be watching out for this. This could be the next big threat, and it's looking like if it does form, it is going to head to the north and potentially impact Virginia, Delmarva, and Pennsylvania, maybe even up to New York as well, but it hasn't formed yet, so I don't want to cause too much panic. Category 1 Hurricane Nigel out here is not expected to make a landfall anymore, not even in Greenland, not in Ireland, not in the UK, not in Iceland. So no matter what people tell you, as of right now, it's not looking like Hurricane Nigel is going to have any major effects on anywhere. Now, we do have this disturbance that has a 70% chance to form the next 7 days and a 10% chance to form the next 48 hours, and we don't know what this is going to do. And since it's off the coast of Africa, this could be a big problem because it could head for portions of the south central and southeastern United States. So we really need to be watching this disturbance here. It's a similar situation to this one, but this one has a way higher chance to form as well, so we need to be looking out. Eastern Pacific here, we do have Tropical Storm Kenneth that I can't even click on because the disturbance is blocking it, but basically, oh wait, I can't click on it. Okay, so Tropical Storm Kenneth is not going to bring any impacts to land, and by the weekend days, it will be completely gone as a whole. We have disturbance here that has a 40% chance to form the next 7 days, and I mean, this thing could head for Hawaii here. For some reason, it's color swapped. It is an orange, not a yellow, and then this one is a yellow, not an orange. This has a 10% chance to form the next 48 hours and a 30% chance to form the next 7 days, and it could impact Hawaii as well, so we need to be watching out for this. I'm not sure if this one will make a direct landfall, though. There's not really a high chance of that, but it could, like, skim it and cause some damaging winds, similar to what Hurricane Dora did, I would like to point out, and that was catastrophic for different reasons than rainfall, if you know what I mean. There's a huge fire in Hawaii, obviously, because of that. A lot of people don't know what caused the Hawaii wildfires. Well, one of the reasons was Hurricane Dora went just off to the north of it, but because it was a Category 4 hurricane, the winds scraped Hawaii pretty good here. They had winds upwards of 60 miles an hour, and it started a fire. That wasn't the only reason the fire started, but it was the main reason. So moving on to the track for Nigel here. As we can see, it is currently a Category 1 hurricane, expected to head off to the north and the east here. Not expected to strengthen anymore, and then it will end its lifetime near Iceland here. Most likely not going to make an impact on that region. It's supposed to stop at a 45-mile-per-hour storm, but, I mean, it could very easily just take a turn to the east or to the north, so we do need to watch it. But even if it makes landfall, it's just going to be a low-end tropical storm. It's not going to be too much different from any other thunderstorm you've ever been in before. It's just something you might need to watch out for. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Climate Prediction Center here. This is something pretty crazy. Our heat dome is still well in effect here from the 26th to the 30th with the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. We still have our massive heat dome sitting here in the upper Midwest and expanding across a good portion of the country here. So anywhere in the yellows, oranges, reds, or pink, you have a high chance to see above average temperatures from the 26th to the 30th. So look out for that. But like I said, specifically the upper western Midwest here, portions of eastern, north, and South Dakota, Minnesota, really the entire state, and then western bits of Wisconsin here. And then we do have a cold dome sitting over here in the northwestern U.S. now. This will affect portions of northwestern Nevada, northeastern California, and then central Oregon and central Washington, so look out for that. But the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, once again the 26th to the 30th, is looking even crazier because we have a large area that has a 60 to 70% chance to see above average precipitation from the 26th to the 30th, so we really need to be watching out here for the potential of some flooding in this region. It is not common that the Climate Prediction Center has this much confidence in precipitation, you know, but they do right now. So California, Northern California, Western Oregon, and Washington, you need to be looking out for some above average precipitation likely. Below average precipitation is expected here for the Four Corner states, expanding into Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, as well as very extreme bits of the northwestern part of the panhandle of Oklahoma there, but not really any effects in that region specifically, most likely. And then here in the northeast, we have an even bigger drought that's about to happen. Below average precipitation here for good portions of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and this is the point where the rainfall from Hurricane Lee is starting to wear off. We're not as well protected from droughts in this region now, just because of how dry it has been since Hurricane Lee in this region. So it's going to get pretty dry up here, so you need to be looking out for that. Moving on to the 8 to 14 day outlooks, 8 to 14 day temperature outlook here. If it will load, please load. Okay, there we go. Our heat dome is still here and is still sitting in the upper Midwest here, but actually does get a little bit bigger and moves off to the east just a little bit. So really the entirety of the upper Midwest now has a 70 to 80% chance to see above average temperatures from the 28th to October 4th. So it's going to be hot, okay? This is the last major heat wave before fall starts. We might see some heat advisories in effect, but that's not going to be up here in this region, though. That would actually be down here in the south if that happens, just because of how cold it is up here in this time of year normally. So it's not going to be, like, hot by any means necessary, but it is going to be above average for this time of year. So any of you that were hoping to bust out the good old fall jackets, maybe put them back up for just a little bit. And then our cool dome is still sitting here really for the entirety of the western U.S. right now. So that's a 50 to 60% chance to see below average temperatures in that region, so look out for that. Especially up in like the northwest, it might get a little bit chilly, okay? It's going to get a little bit chilly. Not finally, I forgot to do 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook here. Above average precipitation is expected here for a good portion of the northwest, the southwest, and even into the upper Midwest, the upper western Midwest. That's a mouthful. So look out for that. 40 to 50% chance to see above average precipitation from the 28th to the 4th. And then below average precipitation is expected here for portions of the northeast, the eastern Midwest, going down into the deep south here. So look out for that. Drought conditions will most likely continue up here in the northeast. And then we do have an area of above average precipitation likely in this region here in the Carolinas. And this is actually because we do have those showers and thunderstorms sitting here from that tropical disturbance that we looked at. Now, this is not saying, oh my goodness, we're going to get a guaranteed full-on hurricane, we're all going to die, but this is saying that there are going to be showers and thunderstorms in this region, so do look out for that. Even if they don't form, it's still going to cause some pretty heavy rainfall. Finally, for real this time, watches, warnings, and advisories. For the first time in a good while, we do have some winter weather advisories in effect here for portions of Idaho and Montana. Upwards of 2 inches of snow could fall in these regions, so definitely don't be traveling unless you can do it safely. But you know what? You guys get so much snow up here in this region that I'm sure 2 inches is absolutely nothing to you guys. But snow is starting to return. Red flag, man, California is crazy right now. Red flag warnings are in effect for portions of north central California. Northeastern California has freeze warnings, which again is something that we have not seen in such a long time. But yeah, they're here in portions of Oregon and northeastern California. Freeze warnings. So you're going to see some frost on the ground, most likely. And then air quality alerts in effect for south central California here. And then just some wind advisories in effect for southern California here. So the entire state's going to have different effects depending on where you live in it. And then we do have one county under a frost advisory here in northwestern California, by the way. But unless you're here in like the kind of southeastern region of California, you're most likely under a weather alert right now. So be sure to check out what it is. And then we do have some frost advisories in effect here for portions of New York as well. Air quality alerts in effect for northwestern Minnesota. But other than that, not really much to talk about right now. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.